Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tactical Tips brought to you by the Independent Dealer Podcast and our friends at Neo. Jeff, we were slow the first part of this month, but I made just a few tweaks inside of Neo, and guess what, buddy?
Now you're selling everything.
Well, now we're slinging some iron, buddy. We are slinging some iron. But that's what, that's what the ability to have someone else scoring your customers gives you that ability. At the first part of the month, we only take A's and B's. And if we have enough A's and B's, we have a good month.
Yeah.
But if we get kind of slow, we start having to look at those C's and see if we want to do some of that business, because not all the C's are bad, right, Jeff? And not all the A's are good. So
for sure. Yeah. So if you guys know Neo and you know their scoring model, A's are obviously top tier, B's, C's, it's like, it depends on your model. I'd sell a lot of C's. And D's we don't touch at all. But yeah, if you want to turn the faucet on a little bit, you say all of a sudden by the 20th of the month, now we're accepting C's. We can go back through and look at all of our leads and say, hey, Mr. Customer, you didn't qualify with your down payment then, but guess what? I got you qualified now. So now all of a sudden you're selling a bunch of C's, which helps you get going.
And sometimes you need that little push. And talking about push, hopefully what we've been over the last 3 weeks has pushed y'all to creating processes that govern your car lot, right?
Yes.
And we've gone over office processes, sales processes, shop processes, and accounting processes. But there's still other processes to be found, right, Jeff?
Yeah. So this week we want you guys to look at those miscellaneous processes. These are all the ones that don't really fall into one of those kind of 4 major buckets. Everything that you want your employees to do the way you want it done, right? So again, policies are, this is the way I decided we're going to do this, and this is the way this is going to be. Now, a process is how you do it.
Yeah.
So remember how I want, the office to look, how I want you guys to order stuff. How do we put things on the credit card? How do we put the toilet paper on the roll in the bathroom? How do we clean out the fridge on a Friday? All the hows go into this miscellaneous process section.
Yeah, and it's super important to have a process for everything. Even as small, there's going to be things, I don't need a process for that. Well, guess what happens when you don't have a process, Jeff?
Doesn't get done.
Doesn't get done, or either gets done exactly the wrong way that you don't want it done, right? And so it comes down to parking the cars in your lot. It comes down to what day do we pick up the trash? All these things have a process. If you don't have a process, someone will make one up, and it's going to be totally opposite of what you want. So to make sure our employees function like we want our dealership to function, we've got to have this stuff written down, and you got to do it.
Yeah. And the worst part is it's not only that they will make it up, other times it just won't get done. Yeah. Right. Like I think about things here, like I didn't have a process for turning on the irrigation to my landscaping, right? There was no date. There was no how to. It's just if I remembered before I saw everything dying that I needed to, so it's all those little things, maintenance around the lot. When do you do this? When do you do that? How do you do it? So important to have these processes in place, Luke.
Yeah. And like at our dealership, we have these big lights that turn on at night. Well, at different times of the year, time changes. So you have to go and change that process. But if it's not written down, people don't know how to do it. So to have a fully functioning, working business of any type, you got to have these processes. Go back, listen to the other newsletters and to the other YouTubes that we did on this, and make sure to write this down. Get started. Use ChatGPT to get started with this. Just do it, because if you don't do it, you're not gonna be successful.
Talk to you next week.